When we're talking about using antes de and despues de, there are some rules, and I thought this would be a good time to introduce you to times when we conjugate and times when we don't conjugate. Okay, so we know all verbs start as infinitives, and if you look at your charts where it says AR, ER, or IR, you can see all of your AR verbs, your ER verbs, and your IR verbs. And in column A, you'll see the infinitives. Before we conjugate, these are the verbs in their basic form, original form, before we start doing anything or giving them a subject, and we call these types of verbs infinitives. It's just the form they're in. If I want to change this from acostarse to go to sleep, and I want to say I go to sleep, you go to sleep, he goes to sleep, and so on, we need to conjugate, right? These are called conjugated forms. Okay, so that's important to note before we begin. So whenever you use antes de or después de, you always use an infinitive after it. Okay, and so I'm going to show you. So if I say yo me ducho, and here you see, antes de acostarme, I take a shower before going to bed. Notice how this is in the infinitive form. I changed the pronoun on the end because I'm referring to myself. So sometimes, even when it stays in the infinitive form, you might have to change the reflexive pronoun to indicate to whom something is happening or who is going to bed. But I'm not actually going to bed in this sentence. In this sentence, I'm showering. That is the active verb of this sentence. All right, so let's keep going. I'll show you some more examples. So the thing I'm doing here is showering. The going to sleep part is not something that's being done in the sentence. So that's not going to get conjugated. The only time something gets conjugated is when somebody is actually doing it. So I thought this might be handy, a little side-by-side chart here to show you what we've learned up to this point about when we conjugate and when we don't conjugate. So we conjugate when a subject is doing something, like yo me afeito, I shave. We conjugate when there's only one verb in the sentence. Él se baña, right? He bathes. When there's more than one subject doing an action, we would conjugate the verb for each subject. So right here we say, ella se ducha, she takes a shower, y yo me seco el pelo, and I dry my hair. Each of us is doing an action in this sentence, so therefore we'll have two conjugated verbs, one for each subject of the sentence. Another example is if I'm doing, one person is doing several things. Yo me levanto, me ducho, y salgo de la casa. I get up, I take a shower, and I leave the house. Again, I'm not indicating if I do it before something else or after. These are the actions that I'm taking. I get up, I take a shower, and I leave the house. Okay, so these are times where we would be conjugating, when somebody is actively doing something in the sentence. And remember, when I say actively, this can also be a verb of being. Yo soy, tú eres. So when I say whoever is the thing, whoever is doing the thing, or whoever is the thing, hopefully that's clear. When I say that, it might not always be a physical action, right? Someone might just is. Yo soy una mujer. I'm a woman, right? So, okay. Anyway, these are the times where we don't conjugate. Okay, when nobody is actually doing the action. So if I say yo me afeito antes de comer, well, I shave before eating. I'm not eating in this sentence. You see that? Yo me afeito, I shave. So wherever the subject pronoun is, that will really help you. Who is doing something in the sentence? Yo me afeito, so the action is shaving, but I'm not eating yet. I'm shaving first, aren't I? So antes de comer. And anyway, we see antes de, we know it's always followed by an infinitive. When there is a pairing of verbs, or if there are multiple verbs, we will not conjugate. So let me show you what I mean. So we say él quiere. We can see that quiere is conjugated from querer, which is an ER verb, and you can find it on your chart by clicking the ER tab. Oh, no, not there. It will be in a second. So here's the verb querer on line 12. So we can see él quiere, he wants, right there. That's the thing. That's the action of the sentence. Oops. That's the action of the sentence. He wants to take a bath. We can even see in the infinitive form to take a bath. So he wants to take a bath. So wants is the part that's going to get conjugated, but to take a bath, if somebody's going to sing, somebody is wants to dance, right? You hear the to in there. That's why I'm trying to emphasize it. As soon as you hear to dance, to sing, to take a bath, we know we want the infinitive. That's exactly how it translates. So we really want to focus on what is the action being done. But again, rule of thumb, if there's two verbs back to back, the first one gets conjugated, the second one doesn't. Here we see a despues de, and we know that rule. After despues de and antes de, it's always an infinitive. If it's a verb, it's always an infinitive. He wants to take a bath or to bathe after eating. Okay, I'll say bathe here. I think that makes more sense for the translation. All right, last one, and I've mentioned this several times so far, but I just want to emphasize, following antes de and después de, you will always see an infinitive. So antes de comer, you see that? Antes de comer. And here's another example of, see, conjugated infinitive. See, you won't have several conjugated verbs unless I'm doing several things. Voy a, I am going. We see to sleep, dormir, which means to sleep. Después de acostarme, we see después de, so we know we're for sure following that with an infinitive. In this case, I changed the reflexive pronoun because I'm the one who will be going to sleep. But before going to sleep, yo me cepillo los dientes. I brush my teeth. And so this is the thing I'm doing in the sentence. But again, even if it was, you can say it the opposite order. I can say, yo me cepillo los dientes después de acostarme, right? It would work the same way in English. I brush my teeth before going to sleep. Before going to sleep, I brush my teeth. So that can work in both directions for both languages. So keep referring back to these notes. The most important thing and what I'll be focusing on for this question is antes de and después de. So really use these to remember. After antes de comes an infinitive. After después de comes an infinitive. And you can see the translations if you would like to come back and take a look. Hope that was helpful.